does Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel for another episode of SPTV. And in this episode of SPTV, we're going to be discussing the reaction to my ABC 2020 segment, Scientology, A War Without Guns. Before we do that, you guys, there is a trigger warning in this video because we are going to be discussing unthinkable abuse. And for this video, I really want to be able to speak to the facts without being scared of an algorithm or some other type of censorship that will prevent me from actually being able to contextualize things very clearly so that we all are on the same page. So without further ado, here is my interview.
He is someone who spent his entire childhood in the church, and tonight he's talking about it for the first time.
This is why it's so important that I come forward, because I feel like, we lived it. We lived the hell.
Serge was born into a large Scientology family. His parents were devout parishioners who Serge says he didn't really see so much because they were so busy doing the work of the church.
My first memories of my childhood were already inside this organization.
Okay, you guys, here's the first reaction. Going back to holding the media accountable for their words, because I believe that words actually do matter. Once again, with reporter Dan Harris, who was provided all manner of documents and receipts that specified what my parents were actually doing. And they were so, Dan reframed it as they were so busy being parishioners and doing the work of the church. And I get it. I'm going to get pushback saying, like, Serge, the media has to say it according to what they're being told. Here's the problem with this talking point, you guys, that I want everyone to understand. When reporters just parrot what they're being told from the other side, and I understand having a balanced viewpoint and stance on this. I get it. I get it that they have to have a balanced thing, but you cannot just take a lie at its face. And they're being called out for not understanding the facts in terms of like, what is a session? Because we keep getting told that they just cannot have a single opinion about it because it would so-called, infringe the religious rights of others. Let me be crystal clear. I'm not here to infringe on any beliefs that any adult wants to have about their life. And when I visited with reporter Dan Harris, that was made crystal clear. I prepared ahead of this interview, knowing full well that I had felt the issue of children in these hotels had been completely dismissed by all American media because their coverage of this issue is abysmal. You wouldn't almost know that every parent that signs up to take care of this religious hotel across the whole world experience, they bring their children with them and they subject them to unthinkable abuse. It's not our job to carry the water for what these people were thinking was whatever it was that they were thinking. It's time for the mainstream media to start not trying to abuse us intellectually by pretending that they care about an issue, but only as much as they want to know about the issue. So is there an investigation going on, or is there no investigation going on? Are you getting down to the facts, or are you just grabbing whatever? When things don't make sense, do you spend time figuring out why they're not making sense, or you just take whatever you are told to regurgitate in the interest of keeping everything so balanced? That's how it comes back full circle. Reporter Dan Harris was made well aware of when it is that I was driven, transported across state lines, crossed through a border, coached on how to lie to immigration, so that when I was at the Juarez, El Paso, Texas border, being accompanied by my mother, Sandra Gill, who stood to profit from crossing me from Mexico through El Paso, all the way across state lines to Florida, where my mother and father, Pedro Gil, who you will see soon in this interview, the two people who stood to financially benefit from transporting me out of the country, because come to find out, I was in the United States at this hotel already for, I think, 2 years, and I had no legal basis to be in the United States for 2 years. But yeah, I was taking courses in this hotel. I was being prevented from going to school, even though I was underage. But you know what? It didn't matter, because Florida doesn't care if there's minors running around that don't go to school. So there I was, illegally at this hotel. But you know what? The recruiters came and swooped me up. Shout out to Alicia Danilovich. Shout out to you, Alicia, who cornered me into a room, because remember, guys, I joined the Sea Org in 1993. Soon after the IRS gave Monique Yingling the green light to open up her sham hotel, right? So those were basic facts that ABC News, corporate media, was made very well aware. And you know what? There is documentation, literally in the immigration, where they can find out when I went in and out of the country. So things can be corroborated easily, but apparently these journalists don't care about that part of the facts. They glossed over it like it was nothing. So that was longer than I expected to say, but you know what, guys? There's context to our stories. There's a humanity to our stories. There's a child that is experiencing this disgusting America-sanctioned activity that happens in these hotels and commercial buildings. And we are just sick of being told that all of this was okay to do. Because you know what? Come to find out, we have GTS. And we know the human trafficking laws. We've now had to educate ourselves on what they told us in the hotel to never study. Don't study the law, you guys. That's stupid. Don't file lawsuits, you guys. That's stupid. You wouldn't want L. Ron Hubbard's technology to ever cease to be delivered, would you? Would you want to have that on your conscience? Would you really want to stop the only thing that people are going to go clear? So let's make it crystal clear what the facts are. And the fact that I represent a scintilla of what the pyramid scheme underneath me is. And yes, today I get to talk to you guys directly and tell you thank you for caring about the kids. You're the only ones that do. Let's continue reacting.
At age 10, Serge says his parents enrolled him in a course which involved an introduction to auditing.
Age 10, you guys. We're going to be stopping a lot, so just trigger warning, FYI, or whatever it is. I was 10 years old when I was brought to a seminar, I was told. Okay? And I'm just going to have to get into the details because, again, you're going to see that the media just glossed over it all. But there I was at a seminar in Mexico, in Chihuahua, Mexico. Some woman came down, said, oh, I'm going to teach this seminar. My mother dragged me there. It was a book one seminar, is what they were calling it. As a 10-year-old, I was made to read the rhetoric of that disgusting unindicted felon in that seminar room. And that's when they normalized it in real time for me to think that this was just the way you were going to help yourself. And they proceeded to put that book of a volcano in front of me and put a woman in front of me that was telling me traumatic, horrific things that you will see we get into in this segment. Children are adulticized. The man America decided to enshrine as a so-called God, the science fiction writer, an indicted felon, was in the business of having kids doing this, incentivizing the parents to bring us. So it's time to expose the facts and face what reality is, not what Monique Yingling wants it to be.
Techniques. Auditing is one of the central practices of the church. It's a kind of therapy using a device invented by L. Ron Hubbard called an e-meter, which is supposed to help liberate you from negative feelings and the trauma of past experiences.
Shout out to corporate media who doesn't care about due diligence, you guys. Here they are, and they have no excuse. Here they are pitching to you, the viewers, who they're relying for in order to get ad money. They're pitching you that this was a therapy to deal with trauma, and they put you on an e-meter. So reporter Dan Harris once again had no problem regurgitating a talking point he heard on a subject he clearly has not a shred of a clue what it is. Because Dan didn't want to study what a course was, didn't want to understand how all of these disgusting extreme role play tortures that were being done in these hotels to children Weren't that therapeutic? And you know, guys, I'm so tired of this idea that it is so complicated legally to decide what is child abuse and what is, you know, a religious interpretation of something. Getting locked up against your will is against the Constitution. Last I Googled. So going back to Monique's client, L. Ron Hubbard, who she decided to put her law license under, who in one little line said, never let the person end the session on their own determinism. That's all it took to strip us of our right to escape what the reporter Dan Harris is pitching as highly therapeutic for children, no less. So now before Dan wants to be like, Serge, you're being too hard on me. Dude, really? You're a father? You would allow someone in Monique Yingling's hotel to grab your daughter and have at it with questions? You would give that level of freedom? And would you still be exercising an American right then, Dan? Because ask yourself that question. Look in the mirror to get some self-awareness going on. Perhaps. Because the story that you guys decided to profit on, the pain you guys decided to inflict, is all because of your lack of wanting to do a job that you're getting paid to do. And that's called fraud. If you're a journalist and you don't do your job, then that's called you're not doing your job. Why are you getting paid? Why is everybody just standing around this looking at us like we're the crazy ones? Like we're the ones with the problem, Dan? We're the ones with the problem. You've had unfeathered access to us. You could ask us anything. Is that the kind of access you're getting on the other side? Ask us anything. We'll show you anything. Our books are open. Did they open any books for you, Dan? Because guess who did open books? We did. We opened books for you, for y'all, for your producers, all kinds of people coming in and out of our houses, asking us this, asking us that, show us this, show us that. Because once again, you guys, don't think these people are just going to come and play nice and take you for your, how can you prove that? So what did you say happened? And that's the grossest aspect of what this is being called out for, because there is no humanity in data mining trauma out of people to turn around and exploit them. Because see, as much as the media wants to pretend only Scientology does that, well, guess who else does it, you guys? Right here, we're seeing it in plain view. The media having access, all manner of access, all kind of boundaries just withdrawn. You know what? You're going to help. We're going to help. We're doing this, right? This is unbelievable. Like, the problem is if there is no outrage, then what in the hell is really going on? Because going back to the example, Dan, if you want to be this glib about this after this was in your hands, you dropped the fucking ball, dude. You literally did. So we are calling you all out because it's unbelievable.
Experiences.
This is just a flow of energy that's coming from the meter through you back to the meter. But once a thought comes in, that picture that you have, and that is registering on the meter.
Leah Remini gave me a small taste of what she says an auditing session is like. You'd be asking me questions.
Yeah, Dan, why did you only ask for a small taste? I could have given you a full-blown session. Is your chair comfortable? Do you have any tight clothes or shoes on? Is this room okay for you to go in session, Dan? Good. Squeeze the cans, please. Thank you. Take a deep breath, hold it for just a moment, and let it out through your mouth. Thank you. Are you tired? Good. Are you hungry? Good. Is there any reason not to have a session? Very good. This is the session. We're going to check your rudiments, Dan. Do you have an ARC break? That meant, Dan, are you upset about anything? On the question, do you have an ARC break? Has anything been suppressed? Oh no, Dan, we don't need you to answer. We're just checking with this machine to see if there's any kind of upset. And we're checking suppressed, just in case you did have an upset and maybe you thought, I don't want to think about that upset right now because I don't want to bring it up to this 12-year-old boy that was just brought from Mexico. Maybe I don't want to do that. Oh, but I just asked you if you suppressed anything. And oh, Dan, we got to read. So Dan, do you have an ARC break? So there you are telling me your ARC break, right, Dan? You're upset. You're opening up. You don't got a choice. I'm going to sit here and I need to listen to your upset, no matter what it is. Okay? So once we get that to a floating needle, then we go to the next question, which is, do you have a present time problem? On the question, do you have a present time problem? Has anything been suppressed? So that's for you to share. If there's any kind of problem that you're just thinking about right now, Dan, is there anything that's troubling you right now in your present? You know what? We didn't get a read on that. So let's go to the next question. Has a withhold been missed? On the question, has a withhold been missed? Has anything been suppressed? Has a withhold been missed? And see, Dan, just like that, we want to know what you have been withholding, what you don't want known about you, Dan. Something that you're withholding, Dan, because we just got to read on the meter. And you know what? If it reads, it's my job to find out what you're withholding. And then just like that, like you see, guys, here, the e-meter is there, the person is there, I'm 12 years old. Dan sitting across is a middle-aged man that is now going to start telling me if any of his withholds have been missed. Yes, Dan, what was that you just thought of? There, that. What did you think of right there? Now, if Dan tries to say, no, sir, I don't think I have a miswithhold. Nothing I'm withholding. I really don't. Dan, we're going to repeat this question. And I need you to take a look to see if there is anything that you might be withholding. Okay? So take another look, and I will repeat the auditing question. Has a withhold been missed? There, Dan. What did you think of right there? There. Right there. What was that you just thought of right there? What was that thought? What subject are you thinking about? Oh. Okay, yeah. So what happened? What did you just think? You had a picture of me? What kind of picture? What kind of picture? I'm feeling a little nauseous, you guys, just to be completely clear right now. I get literally disgusted by the fact that I just went through that. And guess what, you guys? That is what I did day in and day out there for these people. While men like Dan that were paying upwards of $500 an hour for this so-called religious experience that takes place at Monique Yingling's chains of hotels, her clients' hotels. That's what goes on day in and day out. But this was all shared with the team. And all of them glossed it over. They want to report on Scientology, but they don't want to report on Scientology. Let's continue.
I would ask you questions, and based on what's happening here, would I let you get away with it or not?
would I let you get away with it or not? So there it is, expanding on Leah's point. Checking for a withhold. Will I let you get away with it? Well, you know what? If I got to read, I got a problem, Houston. It's not up to me to let him get away with it. In fact, guess what is going to happen to me the moment I exit that hotel room outside? And God forbid, I didn't follow up on that read. If this is not enhanced interrogation techniques, I would love to hear from anyone in the comments, from anyone in the legal profession, from anyone in America that wants to clarify for us why this was so. Why did the writings of an unindicted runaway felon that he put on a piece of paper were role played ad nauseum? And why were people like the example we just showed here with Dan Harris, middle-aged men, getting to have this experience in Clearwater, Florida, Fort Harrison Hotel, right behind the Clearwater Police, mind you. Just shout out to Clearwater Police. Do you have this level of enhanced interrogations going on in your Clearwater Police? Because don't forget, you guys, that they're also recording, video recording, as this interrogation is taking place, video recording. And, you know, shout out to Scientology, who, you know, now that I've literally been to the Clearwater Police Department and see how a interrogation is conducted there with no contemporaneous notes, you guys, like Detective Glenn did not take any contemporaneous note. He didn't care. But he did go in and check in with whoever he was checking in throughout our interview. So that's just to contextualize it and put it back for a circle, because this is the part that's not being contextualized. And yeah, it's pretty outrageous that everybody wants to cover Scientology and they don't even know what a session is. And mind you, I just gave you not even a taste. Literally, we didn't even get past the rudiments. We're not even getting started, you guys. So keep that into perspective and into context for what the hell is this. And we would love to hear from experts. We would love to hear from universities that have been on the payroll of this hotel chain, writing all manner of like, this is just like everyone else, like the Mormons, like the this ones, like the that ones, like, I don't know. We always go back to this point. We don't know what to talk about anyone else having a religion, if it was the same, if it was, we only know what happened in that hotel. We didn't have access to nothing. So I'll leave you guys with that to think about. And I leave it open to any of the experts out there that would like to, you know, quench our thirst for answers. Because you know what? We are not getting answers. We only are getting questions after questions. Why this? Why that? When things don't make sense in an investigation, you guys, you pull the string, you go behind to find the Sherman tank. So why are all these people getting access to us? And what is really going on? Would love to hear some good explanations that can maybe, you know, illuminate us. It'd be good. Bye.